He was in love with Britney Spears. He was so in love with Britney Spears, he went to prison behind Britney Spears. His name was Bo Luke. Yeah, like the Dukes of Hazzard, Bo Luke. I think he was actually named after Bo Luke from the Dukes of Hazzard. And he was in prison. This is the story. I was in a little satellite camp with him. And one day we was talking. Little short dude. About 5'7", 5'6". Nice little build, you know, good shape. Had that shoulder-length, stringy blonde hair with one of them thick mustaches and that Manchu goatee. You know, from country town, you know. Wasn't a bayou boy. He wasn't from deep down in Louisiana in the South. You know, he's from further up north Louisiana. You know, Kentwood, around where Britney Spears was from. One of those places. Little country dude. Talk like this. Man, my name's Bo Luke. I said, what's up, Bo Luke, man? What's happening, bro? You know, you get to talk and everything. I'm like, what you in prison for, Bo Luke? He's like, oh, man. You know what it is. They got me down bad. I said, they got you down bad? He said, yeah, bro. I said, man, what you listening to on your headphones? He said, man, I'm listening to Britney Spears. I said, you listen to Britney Spears? He said, yeah, I'm listening to Britney Spears. I got her latest cassette tape. I said, you listen to Britney Spears? I'm like, man, don't nobody listen to Britney Spears on the big yard, man. You know, dudes listen to Limp Bizkit, you know, the Hot Boys or something like that, you know. Back in the 90s, that's what they were listening to, at least going into the 2000s. Now, Bo Luke was bumping Britney Spears. Hit Me Baby One More Time. I'm like, man, you can't be singing that out loud in prison. He's like, oh, man, one thing I don't do, man. He said, I play behind my mama, but I don't play behind Britney Spears. I said, you don't play behind Britney Spears? He said, nah, man. I said, man, what else you listen to, man? What else? You know, because you're talking about music and you see who you could switch cassettes with, because, you know, you can only have so many cassettes. It costs money to get cassettes. So people find each other and they trade cassettes with on the yard so you can have something different to listen to, right? Well, the only two cassettes that Bo Luke had, he had, well, not two. The only two types of cassettes Bo Luke had was Britney Spears and Bo Cephas. I said, man, well, let me get that Bo Cephas. He said, man, you can use my Bo Cephas Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. I said, I can't use it on Friday? He said, nah, that's the only time I listen to Bo Cephas, on Friday. He said, the rest of the week I listen to Britney Spears. He had Britney Spears on repeat on the cassette. That's all he did all day. Britney Spears, Britney Spears, Britney Spears. It was kind of disturbing. But I said, well, why you listen to Bo Cephas on Friday? He said, man, when I was growing up, Friday was for drinking, chewing backer, and kicking ass. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, we go out to that there local pub, and he said, man, we'd drink all night until somebody hit it off, and we just went to bang, 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 fist fighting. I said, oh, man, you wild little dude. I'm Bo Luke. He like, oh, man, I ain't about all that trouble. I just like to drink and chew my backer. I said, so what happened? How you got in prison? He said, so he's sitting there, and he's talking at the ballroom with a dude, and they just having, you know, regular ballroom conversation. They buying shots for each other. They drinking their Budweisers. And so Bo Luke got his Budweiser. He drinking it. He look at the dude, and he's like, man, and they drunk. They tore up. He said, man, I ain't gonna lie. He said, one day I'm gonna marry Britney Spears. And the dude looked at him and said, you gonna marry Britney Spears? He said, you know Britney Spears? Now keep in mind, this Louisiana. Britney Spears from Louisiana. He said, nah, man. He said, I don't know Britney Spears. He said, but soon as she see me, she gonna fall head over heels for me, just like I'm head over heels for her. And the dude started laughing at him. And they gotta think they drinking. So Bo Luke hit another drink. Dude said, man, he said, let me buy you a drink. I'm talking to the man who gonna marry Britney Spears. And Bo Luke said, yep. And so finally they went to drink and they went to chip chopping and talking and everything. And finally, you know, when two dudes get drunk, somebody says something stupid to the other one. The dude says, man, Britney Spears ain't gonna marry you, man. You ain't nothing but a washed up country boy bum. And Bo Luke said, man, don't you say nothing. He said, furthermore, Britney Spears. And he went to talking. Bo Luke didn't care that the dude was talking about him. But the dude had said something about Britney Spears. He says, you know, he bad-mouthed Britney Spears. And when the dude bad-mouthed Britney Spears, Bo Luke got mad. Bo Luke said, man, don't you be talking about my woman. And the dude said, what? And Bo Luke said, man, I'll whoop your ass. And Bo Luke said, he told me, he said, man, look, I looked at the dude after he said something bad about Britney Spears. I said, man, what he said about Britney Spears? He said, I can't even utter those words out my mouth. Come to find out, the dude said that Britney Spears was a washed up prostitute, and Bo Luke didn't like that. So Bo Luke, this is what he said. He said, I looked at him and I spit bagger right on top of his Western shirt. I said, you spit bagger on his Western shirt? He said, yeah. Bam, bam, bam. They went to fighting. Bo Luke, you know, he keep his little side, he keep his little pocket knife with him. He pull out the pocket knife and he shanked the dude. You know what I mean? Dude lived and everything, but Bo Luke got his aggravated, you know, his aggravated assault charge. You know, and they wound up sending him up the road. I forgot how much time he had, but now Bo Luke's in prison, you know, because he's defending the honor of Britney Spears. Come to find out, Bo Luke tells me, he's like, man, he said, you know, she was that Jake Delhomme guy. Jake Delhomme was the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, and he was actually dating Britney Spears, and he was from Louisiana too. And Bo Luke used to tell me, man, if I find Jake Delhomme, man, I'm going to bat him clean up in his penis suckers. I said, you going to do what? He said, man, I'm going to bat him in his penis suckers. I said, man, you can't be doing stuff like that, man. Britney Spears don't even know you. He said, she will know me. She going to be my wife. And so we on the yard chopping it up, you know, and everybody knows about Bo Luke at this time. And they had another little dude I know from the West Bank, white dude named Damon, you know, clean shaven dude, cool dude, like the box. He used to do all that boxing, and he loved to fist fight and brag about his fist fighting record. And he kind of talked like this. He said, yeah, I'm going to get me another fight. And when I get in another fight, I'm going to bring my record over. He's like, I'm 15-0 in all prison fights. I ain't never lost one yet. And that's in counting black dudes too. And I'm like, yeah, bro. And he used to like to fight, do the fight. He loved to fight. And he had this thing. He only got in fight like 1 or 2 fights with white dudes. He felt like he couldn't get bragging rights fighting white dudes. So he would brag more when he fought black dudes. He felt like white boys were scary. You know, that's what he kind of felt in his heart. So that's what he said. You know, like I said, you meet all kind of characters. So we talking to Bo Luke on the yard, and he looks at Bo Luke. He said, man, Bo Luke, he said, what you gonna do in the off chance that Britney Spears does give you a shot to take her on a date? And Bo Luke looks at him and said, oh man, I've been thinking about this my whole life. He said, I think about Britney Spears more than I think about my own mama. And he looks, he says, man, he said, whenever she says she's going to take on a date, he said, I'm going to give her an unforgettable date that she ain't never going to forget. He said, man, he said, I'm going to get my best Western shirt. He said, I'm going to go to the store and get the best Stetson money can buy. I'm going to get me some snakeskin boots. And he said, I'm going to buy me a brand new bottle of Old Spice. My boy Damon looked at him. He said, Old Spice? And he started laughing. So we laughing, joking on Bo Luke. I said, so what you going to do? He said, I'm going to rent a room at the Best Western. I'm going to make sure she gets treated like a lady. He's like, man, you don't treat no lady to a room at the Best Western. What's wrong with you? And then Bo Luke looks at him and says, and after that, he said, before we go to the Best Western, I'm a book reservations at the Red Lobster. We start laughing. The Red Lobster. You gonna take Britney Spears to the Red Lobster? And Bo Luke's like, yeah, man, what's wrong with that? I'm gonna take her to the Red Lobster. My boy Damon looks at him. He says, man, Bo Luke, man, you can't take no woman like Britney Spears to the Red Lobster, man. She gonna laugh at you. You gotta take her to a 5-star restaurant. And Bo Luke looks at us, kind of confused. He said, I always thought Red Lobster was a 5-star restaurant. And we like, man, Bo Luke, man, you smoking crack, man. There ain't no 5-star restaurant. You gotta get out the sticks, man. You too stuck in the sticks in Louisiana, man. This woman ain't gonna be with you. Needless to say, this dude was definitely infatuated and somewhat disturbing way behind Britney Spears. And all he did was listen to Britney Spears, and on Fridays he listened to Bo Cephas on his headphone cassette tape in the prison. And that's the story of Bo Luke, man. If you like the story about Bo Luke, I got other stories too. Go check out all my library of videos at the Pen and the Shank, and give me a like and subscribe, man. Let's get it.